Warning: due to the graphic content in this program, viewer discretion is advised.
Today's story takes us to a small Hungarian town frozen in time. A place where tragedy hung heavy in the air, and where a young girl's secrets would eventually spill out of a well that held far more than just water. This is the story of Piroska Janksola, a name that barely echoes outside of Hungary, but a case that shook a nation to its core. She was just 20 years old when she was executed in 1954. But what happened before that date is what turned whispers into full-blown hysteria. Piroska grew up in the aftermath of war. Soviet soldiers occupied her hometown, and poverty was the rule, not the exception. Her mother Borbala had a reputation that raised eyebrows. And their farmhouse. Locals say it became known for all the wrong reasons. By her teenage years, Piroska had already been through more than most people could process in a lifetime. Run-ins with the law. Disturbing behavior that people chose to look away from. She was smart. But she was also hiding something that no one was prepared to confront. Over the course of a year, 5 young girls went missing. Their ages ranged from just 11 to 17. Police were baffled. Theories ran wild. Some blamed local folklore. Others whispered that Soviet officers were involved. But no one suspected a teenage girl living just down the road. Then came the tipping point. A woman named István Balashi survived an attack that led police right to the Ladanye farmhouse. While investigating the property, they found a well sealed off and suspiciously out of place. When they opened it, the smell alone told them something was terribly wrong. Inside were the bodies of all 5 missing girls, hidden in plain sight. When Piroska was taken in for questioning, she shocked investigators with a series of contradictory confessions. First, she blamed others. Then she blamed foreign soldiers. Eventually, she admitted to acting on her own. Her motive, as she finally revealed, was rooted in deep personal confusion and internal struggles that had gone ignored and untreated. The courtroom was closed to the public. The case involved disturbing elements that officials said were not fit for open discussion. But what they did confirm was this: Piroska had been living a double life. Her crimes were calculated, premeditated, and cold. Her mother Borbala was also implicated. Piroska claimed she had knowledge of the crimes, even played a role in them. Whether out of fear, financial desperation, or something darker, that remains a point of debate. But the court eventually found her complicit. Piroska was sentenced to death. Her mother, initially given a lighter sentence, later faced the death penalty too. Only one of them would make it out alive. Borbala's sentence was reduced to life in prison, where she eventually passed away in the late 1960s. Piroska was hanged in the courtyard of the prison at just 20 years old. Now here's the part that still haunts the history books. Piroska's case remains one of the very few documented instances in modern criminal history where a woman carried out multiple murders in such a deliberate and concealed fashion, without accomplices, without hesitation, and without remorse until the very end. Experts and historians say her case defied the patterns seen in most violent offenders. She did not fit the mold. She wasn't fueled by revenge, money, or even a partner's influence. It was something deeper. More broken. More isolated. Some call it evil. Others call it untreated trauma. But the truth, as always, lives in the uncomfortable space between the two. So what can we learn from this case? Sometimes, the greatest dangers don't wear the mask we expect. Sometimes they come from the very people we dismiss, overlook, or fail to help when they're hurting the most. And sometimes, evil doesn't knock on your door. It grows quietly next door while everyone pretends not to hear the screaming. I'm Vanessa Hartwell, and this has been another unsettling look at a case that history almost forgot. If you want more true crime stories that challenge what we think we know about danger, subscribe to Women Are Evil Too on YouTube. And as always, stay curious, stay careful, and never assume innocence by appearance alone.